Welcome back. Well, here's that green toolbox that I was mentioning in video I posted yesterday or the day before. I don't know when I'll get to this one, but that's where it mounts. Right there on that beam. I drilled and tapped 2 holes. And I painted this, and you can see my little bolts holding that. Now, them beams are hard. They drilled hard, but tapped surprisingly easy. The point of that toolbox, and where I'm going with this video, is this is the 565 5/16 shear-pin-trip bottom plow. Okay? So, I learned last year when I was plowing in rocky terrain with this, the hard way of course, that when you shear one of those bolts and trip a bottom, if you're not prepared, they're hard to reset. So, after I got home, these are grade 5 bolts. That's important to know. Keep that in mind, because you try to use grade 2s for more protection, all you're going to do is change bolts. But the important part of this story is you need to be able to loosen this nut. Okay, you won't have too much trouble getting this out, and I did just think of something else I need to throw in my toolbox. But when I got home from Mingo last year, I got the 3/4 drive stuff out and I loosened all 5 of those nuts so that I could work every bottom. And I even went as far as to wire brush and oil. So when I went to Collins, which I think was the next weekend, when I only sheared 1 bolt happily, there's more to this story to tell. I'll show you in a later segment. But anyway, I didn't have any, it took me about 3 minutes to reset my bottom because I had the 856, so I had the toolbox that's on the tractor, but I had, well, it's 3/4 drive, this is half, but that's a broken breaker bar or a torque wrench. But I've also got an 1 5/16 wrench. I've got 5/8 and 11/16 wrenches, and a 5/8 socket, and a 15/16. And I did not have trouble with this plow, but on the 365, I had to loosen these because they were keeping it. So we're just trying to have the tools that we need. Here is a bag of grade 5 7/16 14 bolts and nuts, because you'll never find that nut. If you could find it, it'd be perfectly fine, but that baby will be buried. Don't even look. I'm gonna throw a hammer and punch in here and probably some more stuff as I think of it, but this is the basic necessities for a shear pin plow, in my opinion. What I did was I found a spot where the box would fit the beam. And then I figured out where I needed the holes in the toolbox, and I put them in, and then I transferred the holes and drilled and tapped. We'll go outside here. Made me up some custom log chains for the big trailer today. That's kind of nice. This one was a little bit trickier because the only place I could find to put it, you get that stupid thing down. You get this involved. So, you know, your toolbox is sitting on about that much flat, and then there's going to be a little air gap. I thought about making a spacer, and I may do that. I bolted the toolbox on. The holes are right, believe it or not. Got them the first chance. This one was easy. This one was a bit of a challenge because you got to transfer it, and then you got to kind of drill, you know, perpendicular to get started, and then you got to walk over and get back to where you're square with the world with the toolbox. But it bolted right on, so I feel like I've achieved something there. And this way I can move the box from plow to plow, depending on which one I take, to a plow day. Or if I go out there and plow with one of them next spring, which I plan to do. But like I said, I went through, I turned this one around so the nut, because you can't get to it back here. But those are all as tight as I can get them with that broken breaker bar, torque wrench. And then everything else is, you know, in that box. I do need to put a hammer and punch in there, but that should be it. And that's my 2 cents for if you're going to plow in rocky ground with one of these shear pin plows. That's the stuff you need to have, because when you go to plow day, it's nice to go out and plow and not be trying to reset bottoms for an hour and a half or something. Anyway, I'll bring you back in a little bit and show you some more of what I took out of. You'll notice that I've got brand new bolts in all 4 bottoms here and all 5 in there, and I'll show you why here after a bit. All right, here's the other part of this that I wanted to show you guys. These are 3 of the 4 bolts that I took out of that 365 shear pin plow, and you can see that bolt's, well, it's 30 or 40% sheared already, not to mention the fact that it's old and rusty. And they're all like that. And you're gonna just one minimal rock and you're gonna be changing that bolt, and let me tell you, when it's rusty and tight, she ain't no fun. So that's why I do what I do. I hope that helps somebody. Thanks for watching.